Okay, welcome back everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to simplify radicals with variables. Um, you would still do the simplifying the number part just like you did in EE1 simplifying a radical. Variables are very similar, and in fact they're actually easier, and I'm going to show you how to do that now so that EE2 will be a lot more simple. So let's go ahead and get rid of this, and then let's get started. Okay, simplifying radicals with variables, EE2, simplify radical expressions with variables. Here we go. So here you have the square root of x squared. The square root of x squared. So the first thing you need to remember is that if you don't see a number up here in the index, it is 2. What this is saying is how many pairs of 2's are there in x squared? So this could be rewritten as the square root of x times x, because x squared is x times x, and I'm looking for groups of 2. There's group of 2 right there, and so out it comes, and the square root of x squared would be x, which goes with our general understanding that the square root of anything squared is itself. So that one's pretty simple. Let's use the same concept and look at another one. Here we have the square root of x to the third power. Okay, so once again, we do, that is the same thing as saying what is the square root of x times x times x, where you see x 3 times. And I'm looking for groups of 2. Well, here's a group of 2. That's x times x. And the square root of x squared is x. So it's whatever's in there, just like with the numbers. And there's also an x left underneath. So the answer turns out to be x times the square root of x. To make this make a little bit more sense, because remember, if it works with a variable, it has to work with any numbers. So let's try a number example of this to get it concrete in our head. I happen to know that 8 is x to the third power is 2 to the third power. So I'm going to look for the square root of oops, 2 to the third power. So in this case, the x is 2. So x to the third power, 2 to the third power. Well, just like with the x's, I know that that is 2 times 2 times 2. So to make that make sense, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So yes, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And I'm looking for groups of 2. There's 2 2's right there, so that 2 comes out. That's the same thing as saying what is the square root of 4? The square root of 4 is 2. But as you know, it's just whatever number's in there. So that ends up being 2 times the square root of 2. Just to show you that it does work for any number, even though we're using variables. Okay, so let's look at another one. X to the fourth. Well, that would be, as you know, x times x times x times x, looking for groups of 2. Here's 2 of them here, that comes out. And here's 2 of them here, that comes out. And as you know, anytime you have anything left underneath or out, that gets multiplied. So I have x times x. Well, what is x times x? It is x squared. There we go. And if I wanted to look at a number version of this, again, to help make it make sense in my head, well, I happen to know that uh, 2 to the fourth, well, I'm just going to say 2 to the fourth. I know what it is. It's 16. But anyway, that would be, I'm looking for 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. As we know, 4 times 4 is 16, or 2 times 8 is 16, however you want to look at it. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. But still, I'm looking for groups of, just like over here, groups of 2. That 2 comes out, and that 2 comes out. Make sure it looks like a 2. There we go. And remember, whatever's outside gets multiplied, and 2 times 2 is 4. So the square root of 2 to the fourth would be 4. That's how you do that.